Aliens and UFOs are being stored at Area 51. I guess that's the main one. Nothing special. Area 51 is literally just an Air Force base, and nothing goes on there. It's being kept secretive because it's a fucking Air Force base. Exotic weapons making, right? They're making your ray guns, your thunder guns, your Wonderwafts, your fucking Cerberuses, all of them. They're making them there. Development of weather control, I thought this was just HARP, but apparently they're controlling the weather at Area 51. Development of time travel and teleportation, I have no idea where this comes from, but apparently they're doing that there, according to this. Going back to the UFOs and the aliens, specifically the Roswell debris, it's being kept there. They got it and they just stored it there. It's like a garage. The movie Independence Day is accurate when it comes to Area 51 and what they said about it. I saw like the first hour of that movie, up until the president gives the speech. I never saw anything after that. So, I forgot. A lot of these don't even have some sort of basis. They're literally just theories that came out of fucking nowhere. Now these are just theories that just kind of don't belong anywhere, so I'm putting them here. They filmed the moon landing there, so a guy named Bill Casing wrote a book that proposed the idea of the moon landing being faked, and that NASA knew it's pretty dangerous to send a man to the moon, so they set up a whole film stage at Area 51, and they filmed the moon landing there. The 1953 Kingman, Arizona UFO actually shows up a lot in further things, but this is a UFO that supposedly crashed in Kingman, Arizona, and then a 30-foot disc was just embedded into the ground. It said that 3 4-foot tall and brownish-skinned bodies were retrieved from this crash. These bodies were aliens, and that supposedly none of them talked to any of the personnel, and except for one of them, which was a telepathic one. The Cheshire Cat airstrip is a supposed invisible airstrip at Area 51 that will not show up until you wet it. I get to believe that they use this as I don't know why or how this came up, but people think this is there. I wanted to justify it by being like, oh, they kind of test alien aircrafts on this airstrip, but I don't know. I don't know how to justify it. It just shows up as that invisible airstrip that shows up when you wet it. So you turn on the sprinklers, the shit will show up. The buildings disappear whenever they need to disappear. That's why whenever there's pictures of that whole area by Area 51, you see nothing. There's just no buildings, no nothing. So they disappear when needed to. In 2019, some guy tried to break into Area 51 and got shot. But it said that he was carrying a cylindrical object. Theory is just that, what was that cylindrical object? Because they never actually went in detail as to what it was. They just said cylindrical object. S4 or Site 4 is an alien exchange site, which S4 will show up later, but it's like it's the belief that Area 51 is whatever it is, just the whole Air Force base itself, but that S4 specifically is where all the alien shit is kept. Bob Lazar is a PSYOP agent. So Bob Lazar is probably the most famous person to come out from the whole Area 51 conspiracy theory stuff, but it's believed that he was planted there by the government to scrutinize any idea of Area 51 holding aliens or all that weird shit. It's a decoy. Area 51 is believed to be a decoy for a more sinister Area 52, which is believed to be Tonopah test range, or something entirely different. So when I did the whole TikTok thing, I got sent all of those to me, and there was one that I cut out because I didn't get it, but it's kind of funny, so I put it here. But it's the exit of the Matrix. Area 51 is the exit of the Matrix that we live in. That's why it's so secretive and so guarded. Right, so like the whole, we're living in a simulation, we're living in a whole Matrix. The only way to get out is to go into Area 51. It's designated for aliens. It's a whole base for aliens to do whatever the fuck they want. It's not a human base. It's just guarded by humans. Element 115, literally a fucking zombies reference. But Element 115 was first proposed by Bob Lazar and his whole claims and ideas and all that stuff. But it was never confirmed until 2003 when Russian scientists actually tried to make this element, and then it wasn't put into the periodic table until 2015. However, Bob Lazar's claims happened in the late 80s and the early 90s. So it's a whole idea that whatever they're doing here, they have been using element 115 the whole time. Right, but element 115 is highly radioactive, and Bob Lazar claims that this element is not from Earth, it's actually alien in origin, and this is what they use to create the UFOs and how they fly, and that all the materials along with element 115 are all not from Earth. The Transcontinental Railroad System is literally a big railroad system that's underground that goes all the whole scale of the US. You can go literally anywhere in this underground railroad system, and it all starts from Area 51. Like the entry to that railroad system is in Area 51. Project Red Light is a whole conspiracy theory that's proposed by William Cooper. At least I believe it was proposed by him, but it's a supposed started project by Eisenhower that was just in order to start testing and flying alien spacecrafts, right? They would build them, and then Project Red Light was like, okay, now we gotta test fly them. I couldn't explain that one, what the fuck? In 1994, 4 to 5 people tried to sue the US Air Force and, what's their fucking name? The United States Environmental Protection Agency for being exposed to large quantities of unknown chemicals. So because of this, it boosts the idea that Area 51 is a chemical base. Right, and here they're probably preparing for chemical warfare and they're making chemical weapons. Maybe that's where the whole exotic weapons things come from. Or comes from. Going back to the alien facility, it's believed that it's a joint alien-human facility for us to work together with the aliens, but it all happens here. That's why it's so secretive. Aurora program, or the Aurora project, is a supposed project to build a... Think of like the Blackbird from Black Ops 1, right? The SR-71, think of that, right? So a black spy plane that would go 6 times the speed of sound. Right? This is obviously just a rumor because there's no physical evidence, there's no evidence for this whatsoever, but it was first a rumor that showed up in 1989, and it's believed by some to be the reason why there's just random sonic booms in the air. It's believed that this Aurora project is the cause of those booms. It's also said to be called the SR-91. So now I've said him already, but Bob Lazar, obviously the most famous person to come out from Area 51, was a supposed worker from Area 51, a supposed engineer. He had claimed that he worked on reverse engineering alien spacecrafts and that he worked on them, he built them, I think that was it. Right, and then he brings up element 115, which is another whole alien element in itself. It's not from Earth. He proposed that the only way to build these spacecrafts were just to use things that we don't have on Earth. So the aliens would have to bring us their own materials, their own elements, so they could help us build all this stuff. Along with Bob Lazar, though, are 3 other people that kind of made similar claims, though, but they get none of the limelight because, well, you see why. The Greys, right? Think of the generic gray alien, right? Big ass head, big ass black eyes, kind of skinny. Think of that. It said that they're the specific aliens that are being worked on or worked with at Area 51. The Area 51 caller was a man who supposedly worked at Area 51, and he called into Art Bell's Coast to Coast radio show, and he sounded very frantic, very scared, essentially, and he just started saying a bunch of, I don't want to call it generic, but like just kind of shit like, oh, they're not what they seem, they're fucking lying to you, or whatever the fuck he said. I have to play it for you, but it's like he called in saying all this shit and then saying that he worked at Area 51.
Line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Yes.
Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time.
Well, look, let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not.
Area 51.
Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They're gonna they'll triangulate on this position really, really soon.
So you can't spend a lot of time on the phone. So give us something quick.
Okay, okay, what we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, I'm sorry, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Discharge.
I started getting...
Then after this, the whole call just kind of stopped. It got cut off, and I believe it was 2 years later, some guy called in back to the Coast to Coast radio show saying that this was him, although nothing was confirmed. Barry Freeman was a historian who essentially just walked through Area 51, walked through undetected, literally fucking did that shit. But he wanted to follow the trail of the 49ers during the whole gold rush in California in the 1800s, and this trail went through Area 51, and he wanted to get permission to go through it. Obviously didn't, so then he just got the balls to fucking go through it undetected, right? No aliens or UFOs were caught by him or even reported by him, and because of this, a lot of people seem to think that this debunks Bob Lazar's claims. But he also did say that he saw something light up in the whole Area 51 area where all that shit should be. He says that something lit up and that some door opened as well. I don't know if the door opening is something that he actually said or if people are just adding that to whatever he said, but those two things are connected to him as well. It's believed that he took pictures too. I can't find the pictures, at least not yet. The Majestic 12 are a supposed alien research group. It's supposedly said that they are the ones who have made contact with aliens. They are the ones who have actually investigated all of this shit, and they're a group that was made up of military personnel and official government people, government officials, high-end ones, and that this group was created by President Harry S. Truman. Right, it's just believed that they do all their work here. That kind of ties into the Men in Black. Some people believe that the Men in Black are just the Majestic 12, but Men in Black, you know, you see an alien or you see a UFO, this dude in a black suit, black sunglasses, some people say black sunglasses with a black hat, will come up to you and either threaten you, kill you, or just tell you not to talk about it. Essentially kind of gatekeeping aliens, right? These next two, I can't really put them separately, so I have to put them together. But first, a man named Dan Burrish was a microbiologist who worked at Area 51. He said that he worked with alien viruses, which that's kind of wild, but I like that. He states that he took tissue samples of one of them, and it was one of the recovered aliens from the 1953 UFO in Arizona. He later states that he became friends with this alien. And who was this alien? Some people were saying that his name was Jared. That's me, bro. That's literally me. That's literally my name. But it just looks that his name is just J-Rod. J-Rod. I don't know where people are getting Jared from, but like, I guess. J-Rod, right? Jared. Let's just fucking call him Jared, because let's just say it's fucking me, right? So he is said to be a telepathic alien, and that he would communicate to humans at the whole Area 51 base telepathically. I repeated myself right there. But see, this is kind of my problem, because okay, the thing is, they start off by saying he's an alien, right? But then they get into saying that he's not an alien, he's a future human. Right, so then it goes into the claims of how fucking Jared came to Earth from the stars, and that his species are the Greys, which doesn't even tie into the whole reports from the 1953 sighting UFO, because they're not gray, they're brown, whatever though. But it said that he came back to Earth from wherever he came from, right? And that he and his species, the Greys, inhabited Earth long ago, and that due to the whole shifting and the changes on Earth, they had to leave. Right, but they came back because they lost a genetic factor on their bodies that the humans still have, and it's heavily implied to be the penis. Right, so they came back because they all lost their wieners, literally. So then he also mentions, right, Dan Bursch mentions that fucking Jared says that they also came back with the intention of trying to establish a friendship with humans, and that in doing so, once they completed their mission, they would come back home, or they would go back home. So then what happens? How does this thing kind of end? Dan Bursch says that he took Jared to Abydos, Egypt, because it's a natural stargate. Right, a stargate is just a portal from fucking space that'll take you fucking anywhere or somewhere. You know, fuck, it's just a space portal, literally. So when they got to the stargate, he pushed fucking Jared into the fucking stargate, and then Jared disappeared. And then that's it. So there's so many fucking like backpedaling with this story. I wanted to like it, but it's just the amount of backpedaling made me think like, wow, this is a fucking MCU movie. This is awful. I really wanted to like the story, I'm not gonna lie to you. Bill Uhouse is another man that had similar claims to Bob Lazar. It's just he did it about 20 years after Bob Lazar first did it, but he also claimed that they reverse engineer alien spacecraft at Area 51, and that he also worked on these things, on these crafts, and that he did it in 1954. And most specifically though, he says that he worked on flying disc simulators to, simulate how this disc-shaped UFO would fly. Then he goes on to a little bit more of the schizo side though, because he claims that aliens are being held hostage there, and that this has happened because Eisenhower signed the treaty with the Greys. John Lear is a former pilot and conspiracy theorist who died this year, unfortunately, but he claims that the US government has been promoting the gray aliens in media, so when we finally see them, or when they're finally revealed to us, it's not so much of a shock as to what they look like. He also says that they do this so the public can see them as space brothers. He wrote a small document in 1988 about the Majestic 12 and Dwight Eisenhower's treaty with the aliens. Once again, this whole thing showing up again. Lastly, he was also a regular guest on Art Bell's Coast to Coast radio show, where the Area 51 called in from. Or Area 51 caller called it into. There you go. Can't fucking speak sometimes. And then somehow, this ties into the JFK assassination. It's believed in some sectors that JFK wanted to reveal information about aliens, and this also included information on Area 51, so the Majestic 12 had him killed. Then this ties into the burned memo, which is a burned memo of, I believe it was a 4-page document, but 3 of the pages were burned, 1 page survived, and someone kind of saved it and then sent it somewhere. I don't remember where they sent it to, but they sent it out, and now it's just kind of out there, right? It's a highly debated memo, if it's real or not, but it states how the Majestic 12 had been, what's the word for it? We're thinking about fucking assassinating JFK. I forgot the word right there. This is where the idea of killing Kennedy first came from. This thing is supposedly called Project Sigma. It's where Dwight Eisenhower signed the treaty with the Greys. And so Project Sigma Mail is literally just Dwight Eisenhower signed a treaty with the Grey aliens so they can abduct humans in exchange for alien technology given to us. But it goes into how the aliens would abduct people, keep a record on who they abducted, and then go and tell the Majestic 12 and tell Dwight Eisenhower. The aliens, the Greys, supposedly broke this treaty, and they kept abducting people, and it goes into how cattle mutilations happen, and that they're the cause of this. Right, so the Greys and Project Sigma have led to cattle mutilations, human mutilations, and this is my piecing of this there was that whole declassified document of cattle mutilations just happening and no one finding anything and no one just kind of giving a shit anymore. Part of me feels like that could potentially tie into this, but I don't know. I feel like there would be a little more piecing if I were to even make any kind of claim, or there needs to be more piecing. The last one, my favorite one, Jack Parsons and the Babylon working. So Jack Parsons was a student of Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley, probably the most famous Satanist, literally called himself the Beast. So Jack Parsons had apparently opened a portal to hell, or in between Earth and hell, and when that portal was opened, out came these demons. These demons are the gray aliens. So this ties into something that Aleister Crowley had mentioned. He mentioned that he would summon a demon named Lamb, which looks very, very similar to the generic gray alien. And so it's believed that the greys are actually demons. Also believe that a child was sacrificed in order for this portal to open. But the entire thing about this happened in 1947, and the location of this Babylon working is now Area 51. This entire thing needs a whole bigger thing on its own, but that's pretty much just the gist of the Babylon working. That's it. I had to redo this twice. I hate this. First time, the mic didn't record. The second time, actually no, this is the second time. But it's done. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad it's fucking done. I'm glad it's over. God damn it, man. This took so long. Just like I said before, I'm not good with sincerity, so thank you. Genuinely. I set out to make just whatever the fuck I could to, at least by the end of summer, have 200. Now I do. Thank you so much. Like literally, let's look at everything that I fucking did. I simplified and condensed down the electric universe theory into under 10 minutes. That is so much fucking shit that I can barely retain, and it's so much shit to read in the first place, so much shit to genuinely wrap your head around, and I fucking condensed the fuck out of it. Then Saturn Death Cult. It's a fucking book about how Saturn has been affecting Earth and everything on Earth since the fucking dinosaur times, all the way up to now. You know how much fucking history that is? It's a fucking lot. Right then, the UFO sightings iceberg. I did all that shit on my own. Right? I had to find each one of them on my own, and then I had to sort this shit on my own. I didn't take someone's fucking template. I'm not lazy. Then after that, the declassified documents iceberg. Once again, I had to look for this shit on my own, and then I had to fucking sort it on my own. Granted, some of these weren't that difficult to find, but still. Fucking deadly double ad. That one kind of sucked on my end, because it was like, I found out even before I finished looking at everything that this was just a thing that just no one cares about, and I was like, okay, it's just a dead end. It doesn't even fucking matter anymore. But they have all that shit, and then now this. So much fucking reading, so much shit that I have to retain. That shit is fucking taxing. Right? Like, I don't think anyone understands how much fucking sleep I have lost just to try and find out why fucking Eisenhower tried to sell us out to the aliens. Why this one dude who saw something weird in the sky called it a fucking UFO. Well, technically it is, but it's like still. Or why the fuck demons are called aliens. I don't fucking know. I lose so much sleep just fucking looking into that shit. It sounds like I'm complaining. I'm not. This is genuinely my hobby. Like, I just do this on my own, but it's like, oh my god. I need to sleep sometimes. But it's like, I guess that's where I want to lead into this. I have hit 200. I have done the 200 special now. I'm gonna take a fucking break, dude. There's so much reading, so much loss of sleep, so much just reading and reading, making sure I got shit right, making sure I don't fuck shit up. Fuck. That is all. I'll come back in October for Halloween videos, because that's gonna be the fucking thing in October. I don't want to miss out on that, but it's like, just give me, I want to sleep, bro. That's it. That is everything I was able to find on Area 51. That is my entire summer right there. Everything that I've gone through, I just kind of listed it off to you as if I was complaining about it. I do appreciate every little thing that every little one of you have done, right? Whether you're vocal or not, I love you. I do. I appreciate you. And if you're still here, thank you once again. And I want your help for whatever the 300 special could be. I don't know what. I don't really have an idea. So it's like, at the time of this going up, there should be a tweet. So if you want to suggest it, or suggest me something, please. That's it. I'm gonna go fucking sleep or die, or both. Die in my sleep. I'm gonna die in my sleep. Yeah. Bye.